The broken glass crunched under my heel before I felt the blood on my lip. I should have stayed quiet. Should have cleaned table 12 and kept my head down like every other server at the Red Veil who understood the rules. See nothing, hear nothing, breathe carefully. But his hand had been on my wrist for the third time tonight. Heavy. Possessive. Like I was something he'd already paid for. So I'd done the unthinkable. I'd grabbed the vodka bottle, the good stuff, the kind that cost more than my monthly rent, and swung it into the side of his skull. Now Viktor Sokolov, right-hand man to Alexei Volkov, the most feared Russian crime lord in New York City, lay sprawled across the marble floor. Blood leaked from his temple, pooling around the scattered ice cubes and crushed mint leaves from the drink I'd been serving when everything went to hell. The entire VIP lounge had gone silent. 20 men in tailored suits, women in designer dresses worth small fortunes, all frozen mid-conversation. Even the jazz quartet in the corner had stopped playing, the saxophone player's mouth hanging open like he'd forgotten how to breathe. And at the head table, leaning back in his chair with those winter-gray eyes fixed on me, was Alexei Volkov himself. He didn't move. Didn't speak. Just watched me with the kind of stillness that preceded violence. My hand trembled as I set the broken bottle neck on the table. The jagged edges caught the low light, throwing shadows across the white tablecloth like spider webs. "Touch me again," I said, my voice shaking but clear, "and he dies." It was an empty threat. Viktor was already groaning, already pushing himself up onto his elbows, already reaching for the gun I could see beneath his jacket. But Alexei raised one hand, just one. A simple gesture that made Viktor freeze mid-reach. "Everyone out." Alexei's voice was quiet. Accented. Absolute. Nobody argued. The guests filed out quickly, heels clicking, hushed whispers trailing behind them like smoke. The jazz quartet packed up their instruments in record time. Even the other servers vanished through the kitchen doors, leaving me alone with 5 very dangerous men. And Alexei Volkov, who still hadn't taken his eyes off me. 3 hours earlier. My shift at the Red Veil started the same way it always did, with my manager reminding me that I was expendable. "Table 12 tonight, Maya." Dmitri tossed me a clean apron, his perpetual scowl deepening. "High rollers, Russian, don't it up." I tied the apron around my waist, checking that the strings covered the frayed edges of my uniform. "I never do." "And Maya?" He grabbed my arm as I turned away. His fingers dug into the exact spot where the bruise from last week's accident was finally fading. "Keep your mouth shut, these aren't tourists, they're—" He stopped, choosing his words carefully. "They're important." I yanked my arm free. "I know how to do my job." The Red Veil wasn't a restaurant. It was a cathedral built to worship money and power. All red velvet and dark mahogany. Crystal chandeliers throwing fractured light across tables where deals were made and lives were bought and sold between courses. I'd been working there for 2 years. Long enough to know that the VIP lounge upstairs wasn't listed on any menu. Long enough to understand that the men who dined there paid for more than just food. Long enough to recognize danger when it walked through the door. Alexei Volkov arrived at exactly 9 p.m., flanked by 4 men who looked like they'd been carved from granite. He moved through the restaurant like water, smooth and inevitable. Everything about him screamed control. The perfectly tailored black suit, the silver watch that probably cost more than my car. The way people instinctively moved out of his path without him saying a word. He was beautiful in that cold, untouchable way. Sharp cheekbones, dark hair swept back, a mouth that looked like it had forgotten how to smile. But it was his eyes that stopped me. Gray, like winter ice. The kind of eyes that saw everything and forgave nothing. I'd heard the rumors. Everyone in the restaurant industry had. Alexei Volkov ran half the underground in New York. Guns, drugs, money laundering, anything that generated power and cash, he controlled. He was 34, ruthless, and according to the whispered stories, he'd killed his first man at 16. And he'd just sat down at table 12. For the first hour, everything was fine. I served appetizers blini with caviar, smoked salmon, dishes that required 3 separate forks. I poured vodka that cost $800 a bottle. I smiled politely and kept my eyes down, playing the role I'd perfected: invisible, efficient, forgettable. Alexei barely acknowledged my existence. He was deep in conversation with the men at his table, speaking rapid Russian that I couldn't follow. But I caught fragments, words like shipment and territory and Chicago. The man to his right was Viktor Sokolov. I'd served him before. Mid-30s, broad-shouldered, with the kind of smile that never reached his eyes. He had a reputation among the servers: handsy, cruel, the type who left insulting tips and thought it was funny. The first time he touched me was when I leaned in to clear his plate. His hand brushed my hip. Casual. Deliberate. I stepped back, maintaining my professional smile. Will there be anything else? Maybe. Victor's English was heavily accented, his gaze traveling over me in a way that made my skin crawl. Depends what's on offer. One of the other men laughed. Alexei didn't react, his attention fixed on his phone. I cleared the plates and retreated. The second time was worse. I was refilling water glasses when Victor's hand landed on my wrist, pulling me closer. Close enough that I could smell the vodka on his breath. "You have beautiful hands," he said, his thumb rubbing circles on my pulse point. "Soft. You don't look like a server." I tried to pull away. His grip tightened. "What's your name?" "Maya." He repeated it like he was tasting it. "Russian name? You have family from the motherland?" "My grandmother." His smile widened. "Then you understand. In Russia, when a man shows interest, it's a compliment. You should be grateful." Across the table, Alexei's eyes flicked up from his phone. For a moment, his gaze locked with mine. I saw something there. Recognition, maybe? Or calculation. Then he looked away, returning to his conversation like I didn't exist. Victor's hand slid from my wrist to my waist. "I could make you very comfortable, Maya, better than this." He gestured dismissively at the restaurant. "You could work for me, private service, I pay well." The implication was clear as crystal. "I'm fine where I am." I forced the words through clenched teeth. "Are you?" His hand moved lower. "Because you look like you need," she said. "She's fine." Victor's head snapped toward Alexei, who had finally set down his phone. His expression was neutral, but something dangerous flickered beneath the surface. "Just being friendly, boss. Be friendly with someone else." It was a command, not a suggestion. Victor released me immediately, raising his hands in mock surrender. "Of course, my apologies, Maya." The way he said my name made it sound like a promise and a threat. I fled to the kitchen, my hands shaking. The third time was when I broke. I was delivering the final course, some elaborate dessert that the chef had spent an hour constructing, when Victor grabbed my wrist again. This time he yanked me down so I was eye level with him. "You think you're too good for me?" His voice was low, dangerous. "You think because Alexei told me to stop you're untouchable? Let go. Make me." I looked toward the head of the table. Alexei was deep in conversation with one of his men, his back partially turned. The other diners were focused on their plates, carefully ignoring what was happening. Nobody was going to help me. Nobody ever did. Victor's hand moved from my wrist to my face, his thumb brushing my jaw in a mockery of tenderness. "You should learn your place, Maya. Girls like you." That's when I grabbed the vodka bottle. The impact made a sound like a watermelon splitting. Victor's eyes rolled back and he crumpled sideways off his chair, taking his plate and glass with him. Time seemed to stop, then restart and fast forward. I was already backing away, the broken bottle still in my hand, when Victor groaned and started to move. Blood matted his hair, but he was conscious. Conscious and reaching for his gun. "Touch me again," I heard myself say, "and he dies." Alexei's hand lifted. Victor froze. Everyone out. And suddenly, I was alone with them. Alexei stood slowly. He moved around the table with the same fluid grace he'd shown entering the restaurant, each step measured and deliberate. I kept the broken bottle raised, even though my arm was shaking so badly the glass rattled. "Put that down," Alexei said quietly. His eyebrow lifted fractionally. "No?" He touched me. 3 times, I told him to stop. "So you assaulted my second-in-command with a $700 bottle of Beluga Gold line. I didn't know how much it cost." Something that might have been amusement flickered across his face. "That makes it worse, not better." Viktor was on his feet now, blood streaming down the side of his face. He looked like murder incarnate. "Boss, let me sit down, Viktor." "She attacked me, I said sit." The command cracked like a whip. Viktor sat. But his eyes stayed locked on me with the kind of hatred that promised slow, painful retribution. Alexei moved closer. I tried to step back, but I was already against the table. "Give me the bottle, Maya." How did he know my name? I hadn't introduced myself. His hand extended, palm up. "Waiting." He touched me, I repeated, hating how my voice shook. "I know." Something in his expression shifted. Not quite sympathy, but close. "And that was wrong, but breaking bottles over my men's heads is also wrong. So give me the glass before someone gets hurt." Someone already got hurt. Someone else. We stood there, locked in a strange standoff. Him calm and controlled, me trembling with adrenaline and terror. Finally, slowly, I placed the broken bottle in his hand. He set it on the table without looking at it, his eyes never leaving mine. "What's your full name?" "Maya Ivanova?" "Russian grandmother?" I nodded. "Did she teach you to fight?" "She taught me not to let men treat me like property." Viktor made a sound that might have been a laugh or a threat. Alexei's hand lifted again, silencing him. "A good lesson." He tilted his head slightly, studying me the way someone might study a particularly interesting puzzle. "But a dangerous one in this city, especially in this restaurant. I know what this place is, I know who you are. Do you?" He stepped closer. Close enough that I could smell his cologne, something dark and expensive. "What do you think you know, Maya Ivanova? That you're a criminal. That you've killed people. That working for you is a death sentence and crossing you is worse. That Viktor is your right hand," I said instead. "And I just assaulted him, which means I'm dead." The casual confirmation felt like a punch to the gut. He paused. "Unless?" Alexei looked back at Viktor, then at his other men. A silent conversation seemed to pass between them. Then he returned his attention to me. "Unless you can be useful." They took me to an office I didn't know existed. Behind the kitchen, through a door marked storage, down a hallway that smelled like cigarettes and old money. The room at the end was pure power, mahogany desk, leather chairs, walls lined with books that nobody had ever read. Alexei sat behind the desk. I stood, because nobody had offered me a chair. Viktor leaned against the wall, a white bandage now covering his temple. He looked at me like he was planning my autopsy. "Do you know why Viktor touched you?" Alexei asked without preamble. "Because he's..." I stopped myself. "Because he's what? An asshole? A predator?" Alexei's expression was unreadable. "All true, but not why he touched you tonight." I waited. "Viktor was testing you. Specifically, he was testing to see if you'd complain to management, if you'd go to the police, if you'd cause problems." My blood turned cold. "Why would he?" "Because I'm considering hiring you, and I needed to know if you could keep your mouth shut when it mattered." The room tilted slightly. "You wanted him to assault me?" "I wanted him to make you uncomfortable. What he actually did was beyond his mandate." Alexei's gaze slid to Viktor. "Which is why he's now missing his quarterly bonus and will spend the next month handling sewage line negotiations in Brooklyn." Viktor's jaw clenched, but he said nothing. "You still haven't told me what job you're offering," I managed. "Information? I'm a server." "Exactly, you're invisible. People talk around you like you don't exist, and in this business, information is more valuable than guns or money. He leaned forward. I need someone who can move through high-end establishments, restaurants, hotels, private clubs, someone who can listen, observe, and report back, someone nobody would suspect. A spy. An asset. His smile was razor thin. Then Viktor drives you home tonight, and somewhere between here and your apartment in Queens, you have an unfortunate accident. Maybe you fall down some stairs. Maybe you get mugged. The city is dangerous for young women alone. The threat wasn't even veiled. So my choices are work for you or die? Your choices work for me and live very comfortably, or don't and face the consequences of assaulting a high-ranking member of my organization. I looked at Viktor's bandaged head, at the cold fury in his eyes. How much? Alexei named a figure that made my knees weak. Monthly, weekly. It was more than I made in 6 months at the Red Veil. It was enough to pay off my student loans. Enough to move out of my shitty apartment. Enough to stop living one emergency away from disaster. What exactly would I have to do? Listen, watch, report anything interesting. He slid a phone across the desk. This is yours, encrypted. You'll have one contact in it. Me. You see something, you text me. That's all. That's all? He paused. Unless I need you to do something else, plant a device, retrieve a document, distract someone. But that would be rare. Mostly you just listen. I picked up the phone. It was heavy, expensive, password protected. And if I get caught, you won't. But if I do? His expression hardened. Then you've never heard of me. You're just a server who got offered money to pass along gossip. You know no names, no details. And if you give them any... He didn't finish. He didn't need to. Viktor will kill me. Viktor will be the least of your problems. I stood there, holding the phone, feeling the weight of the choice crushing down on me. Work for the Russian Mafia or die. Report on wealthy diners or end up in the East River. When do I start? Alexei's smile was genuine this time. Cold, but genuine. You already have. The first month was easy. Almost boring. I kept my job at the Red Veil, but Alexei got me placed in 3 other high-end establishments. A hotel-restaurant in Midtown. A private supper club in Tribeca. A wine bar near Wall Street. I served. I listened. I texted Alexei when I heard anything interesting. Most of it was useless. Business deals, affairs, minor corruption. But occasionally, I'd overhear something valuable. A politician discussing bribes. A banker mentioning offshore accounts. A CEO planning insider trading. I'd text Alexei. He'd respond with a simple good or more details. And at the end of each week, an envelope of cash would be delivered to my apartment. I paid off my loans. Bought new clothes. Moved to a better apartment. I told myself I wasn't doing anything wrong. Just passing along information. Just surviving. I never saw Alexei in person. Never saw Viktor. The job felt distant, abstract. Until the night at the hotel. The Bellamy was the kind of place where a single night cost more than most people made in a month. I'd been assigned to the private dining room on the top floor reserved for VIPs who didn't want to be seen. The guest that night was a man named Marcus Chen. Tech billionaire, philanthropist, married father of 3. Also, according to rumors, one of the biggest money launderers on the East Coast. I was serving his table when I overheard him mention Alexei's name. Volkov's getting too comfortable, too visible, the feds are circling. The woman across from him, Asian, elegant, maybe 40, nodded. Then we move, cut ties before the investigation reaches us. And the shipment? Reroute it through Chicago, we have people there. My hand trembled as I poured wine. They didn't even glance at me. When? Friday, midnight, the usual dock. I finished serving and retreated, my heart hammering. This was different. This wasn't just gossip. This was a betrayal. A setup. I texted Alexei from the bathroom, Chen planning to cut ties. Rerouting shipment through Chicago. Friday midnight. The response came immediately. Where are you? Bellamy Hotel. Private dining. Stay there. 20 minutes later, Alexei walked into the hotel with two men I didn't recognize. He moved through the lobby like he owned it, his gray eyes scanning until they landed on me standing near the service elevator. He didn't acknowledge me. Just walked past and disappeared into the private elevator that led to the executive suites. I didn't see him again that night. But the next morning, Marcus Chen's body was found in his hotel room. Heart attack, the news said. Tragic. I knew better. I tried to quit after that. Texted Alexei, I can't do this anymore. His response, me tonight. 10 p.m. Red Veil. I thought about running. Packing a bag, buying a bus ticket, disappearing into some small town where the Russian Mafia didn't reach. But Viktor's words echoed in my head. You have an unfortunate accident. So I went. The Red Veil was closed when I arrived. Dmitri let me in through the kitchen entrance without a word. Alexei waited in the same office where this had all started. He looked different tonight. Tired. The perfect polish cracked just slightly. You want out? It wasn't a question. I nodded. Because of Chen. You killed him. I protected my interests. Chen was planning to betray me, to steal a shipment worth $20 million, and frame me for the loss. He would have destroyed years of work. Alexei poured 2 glasses of vodka. Pushed one toward me. Thanks to you, I stopped him. You should be proud. Proud? My voice cracked. A man is dead. A man who would have killed dozens more when that shipment fentanyl, by the way, hit the streets without proper distribution controls. Chen didn't care about overdoses. He just wanted profit. Alexei's eyes were cold. I saved lives, Maya, strange as that sounds coming from me. You're a murderer. Yes. No denial. No justification. And you work for me, which makes you complicit. The words hit like a slap. So you can't quit, he continued calmly. Not now. You know too much, you're too valuable, and if you try to leave, Viktor kills me. I know. Actually, I'd kill you myself. He said it so casually, like discussing the weather. Because I don't trust anyone else to do it clean, no suffering, just quick and professional. He picked up his glass. But I don't want to kill you, Maya. You're good at this, better than good. You're smart, observant, and you don't panic. Do you have any idea how rare that is? I couldn't speak. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to keep working for me. I'm going to triple your salary. And you're going to accept that you're part of this world now. There's no going back. He was right. I knew he was right. I'd crossed a line the moment I took that first envelope of cash. I want something in return. His eyebrow lifted. You're negotiating? My grandmother, she's in a nursing home, Medicaid facility, I swallowed hard. It's horrible. I want her moved somewhere better, somewhere with real care. Alexei studied me for a long moment. Then he nodded. Done. I'll have her transferred this week. Just like that? Just like that. He raised his glass. Do we have a deal? I picked up my vodka. The glass was cold against my palm. We have a deal. We drank. And I signed my soul over to the devil. 6 months later. I'd gotten good at the job. Too good, maybe. I could read a room in seconds. Could spot tension, lies, fear. Could navigate conversations and extract information without anyone realizing what I was doing. Alexei started calling me directly. Not texts, but actual phone calls where he'd ask my opinion on people, situations, strategies. What did you think of the banker at the club last night? Nervous, sweating despite the air conditioning. He's either hiding something or planning something. Good instinct? Anything else? His wife kept checking her phone, texting someone, could be an affair, could be something else. I'll have someone look into it. The calls became more frequent. Sometimes about work. Sometimes just Conversation. You speak Russian? He asked one night. A little, my grandmother taught me. Say something. I hesitated, then spoke the first thing that came to mind, "Ty igrayesh s ognium." You're playing with fire. His laugh was unexpected. Genuine. Yes, I suppose I am. Another night, do you ever regret it, this life? Silence. Then, every day, and never. That doesn't make sense. No, but it's true. I started to understand him. Not forgive, never forgive, but understand. He wasn't a monster. He was a man who'd been born into violence and made peace with it. Who'd built an empire on fear because fear was the only currency he understood. And somewhere along the way, without meaning to, without wanting to, I started to care about him. Not love. Not even close. But something. The night everything changed. I was working at the Tribeca Supper Club when Viktor walked in. He hadn't spoken to me since the bottle incident. Hadn't acknowledged my existence. But tonight, he sat at my table. Alexei sends his regards, Viktor said in Russian, his smile sharp as broken glass. I set down water carefully. I'm sure he does. He wants you to do something for him, something special. My stomach dropped. What? There's a man dining here tonight, Dmitry Volkov, Alexei's cousin, also his biggest rival. Viktor's eyes glittered with malice. Alexei wants you to poison his drink. The world stopped. No. Viktor's smile widened. You don't get to say no, you work for us, you do what you're told. I'm not a killer. You are now. He slid a small vial across the table. Clear liquid, almost invisible. Tasteless, odorless, he'll die in his sleep tonight, heart attack, clean. I stared at the vial like it was a snake. And if I refuse, then we kill you, and your grandmother, and anyone else you've ever cared about. Viktor leaned back. Your choice, Maya, be useful or be dead. He stood and walked out, leaving the vial on the table. I texted Alexei immediately. Viktor gave me poison. Says I need to kill your cousin. No response. I tried calling. Straight to voicemail. Panic clawed at my throat. This couldn't be real. Alexei wouldn't, but Viktor's words echoed. You do what you're told. Dmitry Volkov arrived an hour later. Mid-50s, silver hair, expensive suit. He looked like an older version of Alexei, same sharp features, same cold eyes. He ordered wine. I poured with trembling hands. The vial burned in my apron pocket. I could do it. Drop it in his glass. Walk away. Let poison do what I couldn't. Save myself. Save my grandmother. Become a murderer. Dmitry looked up at me. You're nervous. Long shift. He studied me with unnerving intensity. You look familiar. Have we met? I don't think so. Strange, I never forget a face. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Especially pretty ones. I retreated to the bar, my heart hammering. Alexei, please. Tell me this isn't real. Still no response. 30 minutes until Dmitry's entree arrived. 30 minutes to decide if I was a spy or a murderer. Then my phone buzzed. Don't do it. It's a test. I nearly dropped the glass I was holding. Viktor is trying to turn you against me. He wants to see if you'll actually kill someone. Don't take the bait. But my grandmother is safe. I have people protecting her. Do not poison Dmitry. Act normal. I'm handling Viktor. Relief and rage hit simultaneously. Viktor had lied. Tried to manipulate me into murder. And Alexei had known. Had tested me too in his own way. I deleted the texts and flushed the vial down the bathroom toilet. When I returned to the floor, Dmitry was gone. His table was clean, his bill paid. And standing at the bar was Alexei. He wore all black tonight, his expression carved from ice. When our eyes met, something passed between us. Understanding. Fury. We need to talk, he said quietly. Yes, We do. He guided me through the kitchen, out the service entrance, into a car waiting in the alley. The moment the door closed, I turned on him. What the hell was that? Viktor went rogue. Alexei's voice was deadly calm. He's been planning to overthrow me for months. Tonight was his first move, trying to get you. To kill Dmitry so he could use it as evidence of my instability. Frame me for family murder. You could have warned me. I didn't know until an hour ago. One of my men intercepted his instructions to you. Alexei's jaw tightened. I'm sorry, you shouldn't have been put in that position. I laughed, high and brittle. I almost poisoned a man. I almost became a murderer because your second-in-command decided to start a war. I know. You know, that's it? You know, Maya. I shoved his chest. Hard. You don't get to Maya me, you pulled me into this world, told me it was just information, just listening, and now I'm dodging assassination plots and being handed poison like it's a party favor. He caught my wrists. Not rough, but firm. You're right. You're absolutely right, and I should let you go. Let you walk away before this gets worse. His gray eyes bored into mine. But I can't. Why not? Because Viktor knows about you now, because you're a liability to him, because even if you quit, even if you run, he'll hunt you down to tie up loose ends. His grip tightened slightly. And because I don't want you to go. The confession hung between us. You don't get to want things from me, I whispered. I know that too. We stared at each other in the dim light of the car. His hand still circling my wrists. My pulse hammering against his thumbs. What happens to Viktor? He's already dead. The casualness of it should have horrified me. Should have sent me running. Instead, I felt something dark and satisfied unfurl in my chest. Alexei's expression shifted. Then something hungrier. You're not afraid of me? I'm terrified of you. I pulled my hands free. But I'm more angry than afraid right now. At me? At this whole situation. At the fact that I've become someone who's glad a man is dead. At the fact that I can't leave. At the fact that I stopped myself. That what? That I care about you. That somewhere in the last 6 months, you stopped being just a criminal I work for and became something else. Something dangerous in a completely different way. Nothing, forget it. But Alexei was leaning closer now, his voice dropping to something intimate and deadly. You feel it too. Feel what? This, whatever this is between us. His hand came up, cupping my jaw. I told myself it was just professional interest, that you were useful, and that's why I kept calling you. Why I thought about you constantly. Why I moved your grandmother to the best facility in the state without you even asking for specifics. My breath caught. You didn't have to do that. I know, but I wanted you happy. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. I wanted you to look at me like I wasn't a monster, even though I am. Alexei. He kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was possession and desperation and 6 months of tension finally breaking. I should have pushed him away. Should have remembered who he was. What he was. Instead, I kissed him back. We didn't speak on the drive to his apartment. Didn't touch. Just sat in charged silence while the city blurred past the windows. His place was in Midtown. Penthouse, naturally. All glass and steel and expensive minimalism. He poured vodka. I didn't drink it. This is a mistake, I said. Yes, you're my boss and a criminal. Yes, and I should leave. He moved closer. But you won't. He was right. I closed the distance between us and kissed him again. Harder this time. Angry and hungry and reckless. His hands found my waist, pulling me against him. I felt the gun holstered under his jacket. Felt the controlled violence in every line of his body. Tell me to stop, he murmured against my mouth. No. Maya, I said no. So he didn't stop. Morning came too quickly. I woke in his bed, surrounded by expensive sheets and the lingering scent of his cologne. Alexei was already awake, standing by the window in just his pants, a cup of coffee in his hand. Morning light cut across the scars on his back. Dozens of them. Old knife wounds, bullet grazes, the roadmap of violence carved into his skin. "You're staring," he said without turning. "You're scarred. Hazard of the profession." I sat up, pulling the sheet around me. "Does it hurt?" "Not anymore." He glanced back. "Physical scars fade, it's the other kind that last." "What other kind?" "The ones people like me collect instead of memories." He took a sip of coffee. "My father gave me my first beating at 7, cigarette burns to teach me not to cry. I killed him when I was 18. Does that make me a victim or a monster?" The question wasn't rhetorical. "Both," I said quietly. "You can be both." Something in his expression cracked, just slightly. "I don't want to hurt you, Maya." "Then don't." "It's not that simple. My world doesn't allow soft things, doesn't allow—" He stopped. "Doesn't allow what?" "Love." The word landed like a bomb. "Alexei, I'm not saying I love you, I'm saying I could, if I let myself, if I wasn't who I am." He set down his coffee and moved toward the bed. "But I am who I am, and being close to me will destroy you eventually. It destroys everyone." I should have agreed. Should have gathered my clothes and walked out. Instead, I said, "Then I guess we'll burn together." His smile was heartbreaking. "You're so brave, and so stupid." He kissed my forehead. Gentle. Reverent. "Promise me something." "What?" "If I ever become the monster who hurts you, the one who makes you afraid." His gray eyes were stormy. "You'll kill me, poison, bullet, knife, I don't care, just don't let me become my father." It was the most vulnerable thing he'd ever said. "I promise." We both knew I was lying. 3 weeks later. Viktor's betrayal had deeper roots than anyone suspected. Alexei's organization had been infiltrated. By the FBI, by rival families, by people who'd been playing both sides for years. Cleaning house became a bloodbath. I tried to stay separate from it. Kept working my server jobs. Kept listening and reporting. But the violence was everywhere now. People I'd served dinner to last month turned up dead. Restaurants got raided. Clubs got shut down. And Alexei was in the center of it all, coldly methodical as he dismantled threats. Until the night they came for him. I was at the Red Veil back where it all started when 3 men in suits walked in. I recognized the energy immediately. They weren't here to eat. I texted Alexei, "Feds at the Veil. Looking for you. Don't engage. Act normal." But they were already moving toward the kitchen. Toward the office. Toward the place I knew Alexei kept records. Without thinking, I grabbed a tray of drinks and walked directly into their path. "Can I get you gentlemen something?" The lead agent, mid-40s, tired eyes barely glanced at me. "We're not here for dinner." "Then you need to leave. This is a private establishment. We have a warrant." "For what?" He showed me the paper. It listed a dozen charges. Racketeering, money laundering, murder. All targeting Alexei Volkov. My heart stopped. "I don't know anyone by that name." "Sure you don't?" The agent's smile was cold. "You're Maya Ivanova. You work for him. We've been watching you for 3 months." The room tilted. "I'm a server. You're an accessory to multiple felonies, and if you don't cooperate, you're looking at 20 years. Behind him, his partners were spreading out. Searching. I had seconds to decide. Help them arrest Alexei, or... My hand moved to my apron. To the phone Alexei had given me months ago. I hit the panic button. Somewhere in the building, alarms started screaming. The agent spun, confused, and I ran. I made it 3 blocks before hands grabbed me from behind. Alexei pulled me into an alley, his face a mask of controlled fury. "What did you do?" "FBI? They had a warrant. They were going to, I know, they're gone now. Fire alarm gave my people time to clean everything." He scanned the street. "But they saw you. They know you're involved. I'm sorry, don't apologize. He pulled me deeper into the shadows. This is my fault. I should have kept you separate, should have known they'd eventually connect the dots. What do we do now? His jaw tightened. You disappear, tonight, new identity, new city, new life. I have people who can make it happen. And you? I stay, clean up the mess, deal with the feds. It's over, Maya. Whatever this was, it ends tonight. You go somewhere safe, live a normal life, forget you ever met me. Tears burned my eyes. I don't want to forget you. You have to. He cupped my face, his touch impossibly gentle for a man with blood on his hands. Because I love you, and love in my world is a death sentence. He'd finally said it. I love you too. His smile was broken. I know, that's why you have to leave. He kissed me one last time. Then pulled out his phone and made a call in rapid Russian. 3 minutes later, a car arrived. They'll take you to a safe house. New papers will be ready by morning. Canada probably. Quiet town, you'll have money, a new identity, everything you need. What about my grandmother? Already moved, she'll meet you there. He thought of everything. Because that's who Alexei Volkov was. A man who planned for every contingency. Who protected what was his even when it cost him everything. Come with me, I whispered. I can't, my world doesn't allow running. Then change your world, it's too late for that. The car's engine hummed. I looked at him one last time, memorizing his face. The sharp features, the storm-gray eyes. The man who'd made me complicit in terrible things and somehow made me better too. If you die, I said, I'll never forgive you. If I die, I'll haunt you until you do. I got in the car. And as we pulled away, I saw him standing in that alley, watching me leave, looking more alone than I'd ever seen him. 6 months later. I worked at a coffee shop now. Normal hours. Normal customers. Normal life. My grandmother lived 2 blocks away. We had dinner every Sunday. I was safe. Comfortable. Bored out of my mind. Until the morning I opened my laptop and saw the headline, Russian crime lord Alexei Volkov found dead in Manhattan penthouse. Apparent suicide. The world stopped. I read the article 3 times. 4. 5. Gunshot wound. Self-inflicted. No note. The investigation was already closed. I didn't cry. Couldn't cry. Just sat there feeling nothing and everything simultaneously. He was dead. He'd promised he wouldn't die. And he had anyway. 3 days later, a package arrived. No return address. Just my name, my new name in familiar handwriting. Inside was a letter and a key. Maya, if you're reading this, then I'm either dead or in prison. Either way, I wanted you to know the truth. Viktor wasn't the only traitor. The FBI raid was a setup orchestrated by my own cousin, Dmitry. He wanted my territory and he used the feds to get it. I've spent the last 6 months dismantling his operation from the inside. It's over now. He's dead. The FBI investigation is closed. My organization is dissolved. And I'm free. Well, not free. I'll never be free, but I'm out. The key is to a house in Nova Scotia. Small town. Ocean view. I bought it 3 months ago under a fake name. I'll be there for exactly 1 week starting today. After that, I disappear for real. Somewhere even you couldn't find me. But if you still want anything to do with a monster trying very hard to be human, the address is on the back of this letter. Come find me. Or don't. Either way, you saved my life. In more ways than one. My hand shook holding the paper. He was alive. And he was waiting. I looked at my quiet life. My safe life. Then I grabbed my coat and headed for the door. Nova Scotia. 1 week later. The house sat on a cliff overlooking the Atlantic. Small, weathered, perfect. I knocked. Alexei opened the door. He looked different. Lighter somehow. The constant tension that had defined him was gone. Or at least buried deeper. You came, you waited. His smile was real. The first real smile I'd ever seen from him. I'm not good at this, he said. The normal life thing, I don't know how to be safe. Neither do I. I stepped inside. I guess we'll figure it out together. He pulled me close, burying his face in my hair. I can't promise I won't break you. I can't promise I won't let you. Then I guess we're both doomed. Completely. And for the first time since the night I'd threatened Viktor Sokolov with a broken vodka bottle, I felt like I could finally breathe. We were both monsters. Both damaged. Both trying desperately to be better. But we were alive. And that was enough. The house sat on a cliff overlooking the Atlantic. Small, weathered, perfect. I knocked. Alexei opened the door. He looked different. Lighter somehow. The constant tension that had defined him was gone. Or at least buried deeper. You came. You waited. His smile was real. The first real smile I'd ever seen from him. I'm not good at this, he said. The normal life thing, I don't know how to be safe. Neither do I. I stepped inside. I guess we'll figure it out together. He pulled me close, and for the first time in 6 months, I felt like I could breathe. Then I felt it. The cold metal pressed against my spine. Alexei's body went rigid against mine. His arms tightened, protective, but it was too late. Don't move, boss. The voice came from behind me. Familiar. Russian accented. I knew that voice. Alexei's eyes went cold as winter. Viktor? Surprised? Viktor stepped around where I could see him, gun still trained on me. His head was healed, but a thick scar bisected his temple where I'd hit him with the bottle. You should be. You shot me twice in that warehouse, left me for dead. Big mistake. I saw you go down. You saw what I wanted you to see. Viktor's smile was poisonous. Kevlar vest, fake blood pack. I learned that trick from you, remember? Always have an exit strategy. Alexei shifted slightly, calculating. What do you want? What I've always wanted. What you took from me. Viktor's eyes glittered with malice. Respect, territory, power, but most of all. He looked at me, and something dark flickered across his face. I want to watch you lose everything you love, the way I did. My blood turned to ice. Alexei's voice was carefully controlled. This is between us? Let her go. Oh, I don't think so. Viktor pulled out his phone with his free hand, keeping the gun steady on me. See, while you've been playing house up here, I've been rebuilding, new organization, new alliances, and some very interesting partners. He turned the phone so we could see the screen. Security camera footage. My grandmother's assisted living facility. 3 men in black standing outside her room. The word ripped from my throat. Viktor's smile widened. So here's how this works. He pointed the gun at Alexei. You come back with me, turn yourself over to my partners, let them put you on trial for all your crimes, public humiliation, prison, death, whatever they decide. And if I refuse, then Maya's babushka has a very unfortunate accident, followed by Maya herself. He cocked the gun. Your choice, boss, die like a dog, or watch everyone you love die first. The ocean crashed against the cliffs below. Wind howled through cracks in the old house. Alexei's jaw tightened. I could see him running calculations, looking for exits, for angles, for any way out. But Viktor had planned this perfectly. You have 10 seconds, Viktor said. Alexei, don't. I started. 10? There has to be another way. 9. Alexei's hand found mine. Squeezed once. 8. I love you, he whispered. And I realized with crushing certainty what he was going to do. He was going to sacrifice himself. Walk back into hell to save me. 5. Don't you dare, I said, my voice breaking. Don't you dare give up. 4. His gray eyes met mine. Storm and steel and resignation. 3. I'm sorry, he said. And then the door behind Viktor exploded inward. Someone was here. But who?